Well, I was walking up behind Sully the other day and I noticed, we got a leak under Sully, which is nothing new, but this is fresh. And looking up here under the gas tank, I smelled it, and yeah, that's all fresh gas, so we got a fuel leak. So let's drop the fuel tank. We're gonna see if we can find where that leak is coming from today. The total repair, whatever I need to replace, might take me a few days, because honestly, I only wanna work on this when the weather's nice. Like the weather's turning kind of crummy. If it's raining or yucky outside, I don't wanna be out there working on it. Don't really wanna work on it in the shop, so I got other projects going on, but let's start by dropping that tank and find where that leak's coming from. And of course, we're working with an almost full tank. Oh, just filled it up, I don't know, a few weeks ago, but I haven't driven it a lot, so it's got a lot of fuel in it. So we're gonna siphon out whatever we can, make it lighter. And of course, I can't get this siphon down there far enough down the fill neck, so I'm just gonna have to do it from underneath after I disconnect the fill hose from the tank. I'll try to go in that way and make it a little bit lighter. And probably a good idea to disconnect the battery, as I'll be working on electrical and fuel. And working under on the driver's side. Next, we're gonna take this little shield off on the fill and vent hose. I think these are 10 millimeters. There's 4 10-millimeter bolts that need to come off. You know what? I've got a better idea. I'm getting under there looking at that fill hose, and it's just gonna be a pain to get to try to siphon gas out. And I was thinking, gas, what, 8 pounds per gallon, 15 gallons, 8 times 15, well, let's do 8 times 10, 80, and then another 40. It's like, what, 120 pounds in gas? I definitely want to empty some of that gas out, but I got an easier way. If I hook the battery back up, find the fuel pump, which is this one here. Take this relay out. I got myself a little jump starter here. Well, not a jump starter, a little jumper wire. If I hook this to ground, one of these should be hot all the time, which is that one, so that's my power. So if I jump this, key is on. So now if I jump this, I should hear the fuel pump kick on. Yep, that one. So it's on opposite sides. And then if I hook up my fuel pressure monitor here, take a little on our Schrader valve. Might squirt out a little bit of gas here. A little bit of gas on the fingers. Then my overflow. I hook up my little jumper wire to turn the fuel pump on. Fuel pump's on. I can take my overflow. There we go. We're dumping fuel, making it lighter. What, 8 pounds per gallon? This is 5 gallons, so 40 pounds. This will save me. Okay, so much better. I got a good 12 or more gallons out of this thing. That'll make it so much lighter. Now let's get the hoses off here, the inlet and vent hose. Now my transmission jack, which I really want to use this for this project, it's in use. So I got to support this on some jack stands, get that transmission jack out of there. Super handy with removing a gas tank. All right, next we're gonna disconnect the power to the fuel pump. Little red tab pushes over there. I don't think I can do this with one hand. Then this black thing pushes down and it just pulls out. Okay, now the 2 straps, we gotta loosen those up. This is a 9/16 bolt. We're just gonna loosen that up quite a bit here. One on each side. I am gonna hit it with a little bit of PB Blaster as well. Just a little squirt, kind of help the threads a little bit. Try to show you guys what I'm looking at as I'm doing this. So I'm paying attention to where this wetness is coming from. It's all up that strap, and then there's a little drip running down right there too. So something up there where the fuel pump is. I think I've got this one loose enough, yep. Get this strap all the way off. And you have to make sure you have enough slack on your fuel lines so that when you drop the tank, it's got somewhere to go. And I think I have this other strap loose enough where I can just push it up and unhook it. And I think the tank is light enough that I can just lift it. I don't need that transmission jack. Putting it back though, the transmission jack is super handy. There we go. And our inlet and outlet tubes here. Slide it out. Oh, actually, no, wait, I gotta undo the fuel lines. Now I've got the tank dropped down far enough to where I can see the fuel pump and the lines really well. Although everything is pretty wet. I'm not sure if there's a little stream from that return line down to the fuel pump, and then all around the fuel pump's wet. So I'm thinking of how I can find exactly where this leak is. I've got two different options. My first option, which I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hook the wire loom to the fuel pump back up, hook the battery back up, pressurize the system, see if I can find a leak there. Before I do that though, I'm gonna have to take some brake clean, spray it under there, compressed air, get it all nice and clean, and then hook it up, pressurize it, see if I can see a leak that way. The other option, which if option one doesn't work and is very clear, I'm gonna have to remove the tank anyways, probably for the repair, take the tank all the way out, and then you pressure test it. Hook it up to an air compressor, soapy water, look for leaks that way. But let's hook the fuel pump back up, pressurize it, and see what we see. Okay, I got it all cleaned off nice so I can see if there's any leaks. It's all clean and dry now. Honestly, I'm not super confident this method's gonna work because the tank was actually so full. It may have been just the gasket on the fuel pump leaking, the way it was, because it's parked slightly at an angle. So if that gasket's leaking, this test isn't gonna work. I just wanna make sure these lines, my supply and return line, aren't leaking. Got the fuel pump hooked back up and batteries hooked up now. Actually, I have the car turned on. It's not started, but the fuel pump is turned on. I don't see any leaking right now, but I think I'm actually gonna see if it'll start here. Might have to level out the fuel tank a little bit, but let's run it for a little bit and see if we get a leak. Okay, Jeep is running now. I don't see any obvious leaks from the supply or return line. I'll inspect it a little bit closer here once I shut it off. Well, the good news is I don't see any leaks from any of the fuel lines. So that's nice. I really think it must be the gasket on the fuel pump. So let's disconnect these fuel lines and pull the tank all the way out. And this one, we're gonna push the blue tabs in and push it on more, and then push the blue tabs in, push it on. Come on. Oh, I snapped it back in place real nice. Blue tabs in. Oh, there we go. What's super curious about this though is that gasket is not that old. I replaced the fuel pump on this just, what, 2 years ago? So being that it doesn't look like it's any of the fuel lines, although I have had circumstances where you lift something 1/4 of an inch and it leaks, you let it go, it doesn't, that is still possible. But I really think it is just that gasket on the fuel pump. I don't think I'm gonna go through the trouble of pressurizing the tank, plugging these off, plugging those, getting my air compressor, spraying it. Like, I really am confident enough that it's just that gasket that I think I'm just gonna order one of those and replace it. Because the fluid level was so full on this, it was up at the level of the gasket there. That's why I'm really confident that's what my issue was. So I'm gonna be ordering a new gasket here and we'll replace that together in a future video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you. And if you wanna help support the JeepSolid Garage, be sure to check out my Patreon page. It's linked in the description below. You'll get a little extra content down there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good day.